This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friends and I get together and we gorge ourselves on what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month, you can gain access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 gets you takeout and monthly commentary track where we don't want to play something, so we watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 is the grab bag tier. It's everything else. It's whatever else we do that is not takeout. That's the only way to describe it. So yeah, any bonus content goes in the $2 tier, and there's a lot of it.
There's
so
$2.
Much. $2 gets you like a whole extra podcast worth of listening material. So consider that.
For our in October, we had, apropos of nothing, we had Bard-October, where we played a little bit of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and we watched Bardock, Father of Goku, which was really good, and we watched episode of Bardock, which wasn't,
which was really bad. And this month we're doing Baki. Am I right?
Yes. We in lieu of whatever we rolled, we decided instead to just watch like the first 3 or 4 episodes of Baki.
I'm going to have to look at the synopses again to see like what the good split there is going to be, but first 3 or 4 should be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll do something for $2. I got a couple ideas we'll talk about after we record.
I don't know what. We'll figure something out. Anyways,
if you buy in at the $10 tier, you get access to a special channel on our Discord where you can see never posted elsewhere pictures of Sarah's dog and cat.
That's correct.
It's true.
And at the $50 tier, you can give us $50 a month.
That's it.
And isn't that really all the reward you could ask for?
Now, have you considered the holidays are upon us?
It's true. You know what?
And now is as good a time as ever to not spend money on your loved ones, but to spend money on me instead.
Wouldn't it be great if on Christmas morning, you told your loved ones, your parents, your spouse, your significant other, your siblings, whatever, in lieu of getting you some commercial product, some object, I donated $50 to this podcast I listened to.
I
so
donated,
that they could buy video games.
I donated $50 to like a gaggle of 30-something do-nothings so they could waste it fantastically instead of giving it to someone who I know and love.
I gave $50 to a podcast that has a combined total of less than 2,000 followers on Twitter.
That's
Look,
right.
If we simply believe, we can eventually have gigaboots. All those people who give them $50 a month will flock to us for some reason.
That's right. We can do Gigaboots number. I believe in us.
I donated $50 to a podcast that has streaming audiences in single digits.
Don't you want to be the change that you want to see in the world?
And that's the true meaning of Christmas.
That's right. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, all of that and more, patreon.com/thegorge. This intro promo took way longer than usual. Anyways, yeah, hey, I hadn't really done shit. 7.1 came out. That's what I did.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
7.1 is good. I mean, it kind of starts slow, but it has like such a banger ending. And technically we shouldn't talk about it because it's only been a week since it came out. And for the sake of politeness, we should probably wait a little bit longer. But it has an absolutely kick-ass ending.
Yeah. I can say one thing about it was that, it starts off slow, kind of like Dawn Trail itself. It's like a mini Dawn Trail where it's like, oh, hey, we're doing, some kind of lighthearted problem solving, making the world a better place. Oh, shit, what was that?
Yeah, it owns. It was really good. I just generally love, I really enjoyed the tone at the very end of everything where it's like, what the fuck is going on? I've never felt more like we're so fucking back.
Oh, right? Yeah, no.
I've never felt like we are so fucking back.
The dungeon kicks ass.
Dungeon is really fun, has a really fun final boss that just is brutal.
You just go, what the fuck is happening?
What the fuck is your problem?
Wait, that's not, that's gonna Oh.
And then it stays like that the whole fight. It's great.
Oh, that's just gonna be there.
It's just gonna be like that forever.
Say for story content, like I'm still holding out for seeing if 7.2 is firing on all the cylinders 7.1 ends on before I'm like willing to get fully excited. But that gameplay content is, I think, some of the best that's ever been in the game.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That dungeon rules, the Alliance raid rules. Very
the
good.
Alliance raid is so good.
The Alliance raid is extremely, insanely good.
After how disappointing Endwalkers was, this is like right up there with like Nier.
Yeah, it's really good so far. My only beef, and I mean, you know, I'm hoping it'll come up in the next 2 raids, is that the Endwalker raids did not have anything that was like a group collaboration thing where everybody's fighting their own boss, or it's like Thunder God Sid where everybody is like fighting, like you're divided up by your alliances, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing like that in all of like any of the Endwalker fights, but like even even fucking Void Ark has that with Ozma, right? Like it has like something that gives you a little extra something where you're kind of on your own and you still have to keep an eye on the other alliances, right?
Right. And look, you know, we need something so that our alliance can win.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
like,
this is not a team effort.
This is
We are a
race,
team, and I need to win the alliance. Okay,
especially if that means that I can target boss attacks at the other alliances to teach those uppity fucks a lesson.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck Alliance C.
Unless I'm on Alliance C.
Look, it is not enough that I win; others must lose.
Exactly. But no, the actual fights itself are super, super good. Yeah, like all the content is good, because even like the the raids that came out right after Dawn Trail came out, those are really good too.
Those are super really fun, yeah.
So just in general, I think all the like actual video game part of the video game has been really good. And hopefully they'll keep the Steam up with the plot part of the video game.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it during the actual Dawn Trail episode, but like I think, especially in hindsight of the dungeon, like the unabashed shift to, oh no, we're sci-fi now.
Yeah,
we're sci-fi tech. Like this isn't Magitech, this is computers, this is a smartphone.
Right.
Is like, it opens up the gates to just do whatever you want in the game now, and like the story can go in so many different directions and have so many different like tones and themes and like styles going on that it's just, I think it's very rewarding, and it's like I'm gonna sound dumb for saying this, but it's brave of them to do that.
Sure, I mean it's fun. It's like a nice shift in things.
Yeah,
I'm hoping 8.0 is Mericidia, and we just get more like weird fantasy shit again, though.
I was going to say, I do hope that, like, because obviously for 7.x patch stuff, we're going to be doing lots of sci-fi nonsense. I do hope that 8.0, just for keeping it fresh, is a hard swing back to the lowest fantasy you are capable of in Final Fantasy 14. I think that would be really fun. Fucking
Fantasy Australia, aka Mericidia, where everything is just like way too big and poisonous and horrible.
Yeah,
because I think that sounds really fun.
I hope Mericidia has like a Monster Hunter World Hunting Commission that like has a forcible no gizmos policy, and they like pat you down when you enter, and they have like a big tower that suppresses your magic so you don't throw fireballs around. If
you're playing as a machinist, everyone's just glaring at you.
Yeah.
The guy at the dock's just like, well, you're the Warrior of Light, so I guess begrudgingly you get a pass, but I've got my eye on you.
and then they just look at Thancred and just shake their head.
Like, no, you can't come in.
Get back on the boat.
We're kicking you out of Mericidia. Yeah.
That would actually be funny if Mericidia DLC was like Thancred mode, and it's like, there is not a single ether crystal in this entire continent. You have to walk everywhere.
You walk, motherfucker.
Oh, that'd be so fun. I think it'd be really funny if it was like, there is still some form of fast travel, but it's basically like the Fleas in Morrowind. You have to go to a specific dock and travel to those. Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be funny.
It's like we got crystals here, and the crystal is a giant hunk of rock candy that leads the giant like bird you fly around.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of it. That's all I got. I'm sorry. So, you know, it's been a weird couple weeks. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn, did you do anything?
The only thing I did of particular note, I've had a very sleepy, sick last week because I got a tattoo recently.
Yeah,
I got a little bit of a skin infection.
Oh no!
Luckily I had some like doxycycline around from because it's useful as an acne medication, right? But it is like an antibiotic, and so it has been useful in taking care of that. It's just like been a slow. Kind of fighting that off a bit, so I've been taking it kind of slow. I did, however, play about 2 hours of Stalker 2.
Ooh.
Which came out the day that we are recording this.
Is it delightfully Eurojanky?
You know what? Honestly, hanging in there better than I thought it would so far.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Even for, I will say, for a UE5 game, it doesn't run very good. I was expecting it to run way worse. There's like, if you're in a town where you have like a lot of NPCs walking around, the performance can kind of slow down significantly, but like out in the world, like just walking around, it's pretty stable.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got the great Stalker vibe. I think switching to UE, even though I'm kind of whatever about things using UE or Unity instead of like their own custom engines, has probably been good for the health of that game in terms of it being easily in terms of it not exploding itself constantly.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the sequel, the full sequel to Stalker that came out like 12 years later, however long it's been.
Right.
More than that, actually, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's I've only played 2 hours, and it's apparently a pretty fucking big game.
That's good.
It's interesting, and apparently it does. No one's done anything with this yet, obviously, but they have like for launch they were saying like, yeah, we're just having like full mod support like from the word go, basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm going to be excited to see what people do with this in the future because like the original Stalker trilogy had some like insanely ambitious mods going for it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far.
Hey,
it's very,
nice.
It's very, being in a wet, bleak, depressing, radioactive hellhole, and it has the thing that I like, which is I can have the game text in English, and your 2 dub options are the English dub, which seems fine, and the Russian dub, which obviously I put that on.
Yeah,
right,
which is superior, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I guess, I don't know if Ukrainian and Russian are separate languages or not. I don't think they are, but
I think they're like vaguely different. I think they're different enough that if you called Ukrainian Russian, somebody would get mad at you.
Yeah, because like it still uses the Cyrillic text, but I also know that Ukraine now uses not Cyrillic on their official signage stuff. I don't really know what's going on there.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I get to hear people talk in a language I don't understand. And it's very dark and depressing, and everything is very violent, and I'm having a good amount of fun with it.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect Stalker game.
Yeah. That's me. That's all I got.
Well, Ben?
I did a couple things.
All right.
I finished Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay.
It was pretty good. I feel like it never reached its potential. Because the dungeon, because it felt the same problem that Tears of the Kingdom did, where like when you have too many solutions to a puzzle, the puzzle can't be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you very have to like enforce finding your own fun. It's really the unfortunate part of these games is it's really way too easy to go like, oh good, I found this solution that works for this problem. This like having clouds or whatever, or using this, that, or the other is now a hammer which I will try to solve every nail with.
Right, yeah. Ironically, I ran into the problem. I never ran into the problem where like it was like, oh, well, I'll just do this again. Like I was using a lot of the pieces that were given to me to solve problems, but they weren't complicated problems. You know, like you think about like a classic Zelda dungeon. You know, you walk into a dungeon and there's a bunch of symbols all over the walls, right? And it's like, oh, well, when I get either the bow or the hook shot, I'm gonna be shooting those and something weird's gonna happen. And then I'm gonna get through this room and maybe get a key or something. And there's just not that in Echoes of Wisdom.
Right.
Yeah, not really.
Like you're not getting, you don't feel that sense of progression that you do in like classic Zelda games, because you're not getting a thing in each dungeon.
Right.
The things you're getting, if you're getting them, are like the new creatures that you can summon.
Yeah. And there's some situations where like, oh yeah, you got I got like a thing that like a fan that pushes blows wind in a certain direction. Okay, well, the dungeon I get this in will kind of use it a little bit, but it's not like the theme of the dungeon, It's just like, oh well, you're gonna get this and you're gonna use it here because we gave it to you at the start of the dungeon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the same problem that like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I really like Tears of the Kingdom a lot. I enjoyed that game a lot, but it still doesn't have real dungeons. People say it does, but no, it don't. It has like it has the skeleton of real dungeons.
Yeah.
The closest they ever come is the Lightning Temple, right? To like being a real dungeon, but even then, not really. And I don't know if it's for the best that Nintendo seems to be pivoting away from that as like a thing for Zelda games, right?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. I feel like they really need to just, what they should do is just take this engine, the Link's Awakening Echoes of Wisdom engine, and make a whole new Zelda out of it, like a proper Legend of Zelda game.
Well, I think realistically what needs to happen, and I don't like to besmirch anyone's creative legacy, I think just genuinely, Aonuma's been doing this for so long, and has been doing it has largely been doing it well, irrespective of like whether like TOTK style Zelda is like a better or worse or different or whatever kind of Zelda. But the problem is like, because he's been doing it so long, I don't think it's fun for him anymore to do conventional Zeldas. And so now he's like, well, they're going to have me in the Zelda mines until I die, so I should just sort of try to convince them to let me do different things with it if I can. And the result is that you get lots of things where it's like, well, this is cool and inventive, and in Breath of the Wild's case, like industry redefining, like very significantly. But it's also missing a lot of what makes the classic Zeldas really magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of I think it's such a strong pivot from like what classic Zeldas are, that it kind of, you lose some of that identity, I guess.
Yeah.
When you're pivoting so hard from, well, and I mean like the restraining thing of like classic Zelda that can kind of bog it down is this idea that every dungeon is, well, you get your tool and you use that tool to solve everything in the dungeon, right? That's generally how Zelda dungeons work.
And then you basically never use it after.
And then you never use it after unless it's the bow and the hook shot, right? But this like weird standardization in like the total opposite, where you get all of your tools at the beginning and never again will you ever get anything new, is also not great. Like they kind of fix it a little bit in Tears of the Kingdom with giving you new gubbins to make gizmos with, right? But it's not really the same thing either, because you can kind of brute force your way through a lot of that stuff, right?
Echoes of Wisdom, actually, funnily enough, kind of has the opposite problem in my experience, where like you get a lot of your tools very quickly, but also like they do constantly throw new things at you. But because like it's structured in the open world way that like in the open world way similar to the way something like Tears of the Kingdom is, and they can't account for when you're going to get a lot of things, they never like design any of the challenges to be particularly demanding because they don't actually know what you'll have. And I feel like Echoes of Wisdom honestly would have done better leaning into the Tears of the Kingdom formula thing of just giving you like, these are your like 8 summons or whatever that you get at the beginning of the game. And if you get new things, it's making those in some way better.
Right.
Because then you could actually go like, okay, we know you have this, and we can make more complicated puzzles around the verbs that we know that you have.
Yeah, I definitely think that if they had slimmed down, like getting every enemy is cool. Like I don't have any problem with that because like that's what you use to do battles with, right? Is like you're summoning monsters to help you. But if they had slimmed down the list of objects you can make echoes of to like 20,
Yeah.
and that's your tool, and they all do something, you know? Because I'll get like, okay, well I have a box and I have a table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need both of these. They're functionally the exact same. They don't do anything special. But like, then you get stuff like, oh, well, I have a water cube like that I can just spawn and I can use that to make bridges. Okay, well, that's a gimmick item that I can manipulate and do things with.
Right.
And like, and even then for the monster thing, like, honestly, I wish instead of that, because that is like a huge bloat on the UI. That's, I think, one of Wisdom's biggest problems is that the amount of shit there. It's just a nightmare to navigate. The UI
they should have put those on separate menus.
But what I think is instead of having the different summonable monsters, they should have removed that and removed the sword fighter mode, and you just summon a little Phantom Link. Because also the sword fighter mode that you have basically just means that whenever you get into a boss fight, you're not solving the boss fight in a cool ways. You're just like getting Phantom Link orbs so you can turn into Link and then fight the boss like a normal Zelda boss. And it's it's like the least interesting part of the game.
Every boss has a mechanic of summon something to hit its weakness, and then it'll fall over on its back, switch to sword fighter, and then whack it with your sword. Ironically, the best boss fight, I think you're right, Saturn, because the best boss fight in the game was the final boss, where you get the real Link back, and he's just walking around by himself.
Yeah, because like what I ended up doing in that fight is summoning ads and avoiding mechanics while like letting them do the damage, which feels like more correct. Yeah, because again, like it feels like kind of a betrayal of the premise when you're just like, okay, here's the button to turn into Link and just play the game in like Link, and it's like, but like this is kind of supposed to be like if a classic Zelda was like an action puzzle game, which is kind of what I was hoping for it to be, and like all the big set pieces just kind of turn that off completely.
Yeah.
Like the last fight of the game felt the most like I was playing Hades.
Yeah.
Where it's like dodge, like fighting Hades himself, like dodge all of his attacks while you're throwing down like your summons. And just keep moving, never stop moving. Just always stay in motion.
Always
and just
be moving.
Keep throwing new stuff down. But yeah, no, it was good. But I feel like if they make it, like, I don't want them to make an Echoes of Wisdom 2, but if they did, it would be way better.
Right.
But I moved on from that to starting Mario and Luigi Brothership, and that's good.
Okay.
That is super enjoyable. There's so much like flourish and fun and quirkiness that's just packed into that game. All of the animations are adorable, and they're so fluid and cartoony. There's a bunch of new I haven't played a lot of the Mario and Luigi games. I only played I beat Superstar Saga, and I only played a little bit of Paper Jam.
Yeah.
But comparing this to Superstar Saga is like there's so much that's like improved and like refined about it that it just feels really, really good to play. Like the battles probably take a little bit longer than they should, but because everything is so flashy, it doesn't feel like that.
Right.
Like, because there's always just something moving around and like making noise. The only problem I have with it is that Luigi is not B in battles.
Right.
So the way Mario and Luigi works is that you control Mario's actions with the A button, and like so like when Mario is the active character and you're selecting your menu items, you confirm them with A.
Okay.
When you're Luigi, you confirm them with B.
Okay.
So like when you're in the overworld, you jump with Mario with A and Luigi jumps with B. So that's how you can control both characters at the same time.
Oh, okay. That's easy. That's cute.
In Brothership, when you're menuing as Luigi, you confirm with A.
That's fucked up.
And then when he does his jump or hammer attack, you timed hit with B again.
Oh no.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I don't like it. That
No,
they
that's
they
really fucked up,
they,
yeah.
they messed it up. They screwed it up.
Yeah.
Luigi is B. Luigi should be B.
Yeah. Bouigi.
Yeah.
Bouigi?
That's
Don't
when
worry
that's
about
when
it.
that's when Luigi turns into a Boo. He's Bouigi.
Oh, that makes sense.
No, the word you're thinking of is bourgeoisie.
Disco Elysium thought bubble.
It's Luigi.
Is Luigi part of the bourgeoisie? No, that's terrible.
Are women Bouigi? Hey, there's a good episode title.
Yeah, there
Are
you go.
women Bouigi?
Women can be Bouigi. Oh man,
Picture of ulterior motives.
that's correct.
The one little touch I do like though is that the way the brothers are shaded is nice because they're shaded with blue.
Okay.
Yes.
So like Mario's like sleeves will end in purple,
Okay.
and Luigi's sleeves will end in like a turquoise,
Right.
and it looks really really nice. Like it's a nice like shift,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very very soothing color palette.
Yeah,
all of the
that's the thing that enticed me most about it when they originally revealed it, is that the game being styled directly to, as much as possible, imitate the 2D art
Yeah.
of those classic games with all the hue shifting and stuff, but in the 3D models it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. All of the NPCs talk in vague Animal Crossing gibberish that I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny because the plot centers around this idea is like there's a big tree surrounded by islands, and something broke the links between the tree and the island. The island is Concordia because it's a power cord.
Yeah.
Everything is outlets and power cables and stuff.
I believe the island was held together by connector.
Yeah,
if I'm not
connector,
mistaken.
like connector, like nectar.
Oh, okay. I see.
Your like the main leader, like the person who is in charge of regrowing the tree, is a botanist.
Oh, that's cute.
But it's funny because they'll keep showing like a screenshot of what Concordia looked like before the island separated.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I do, all I can think of is Yggdrasil, the world tree.
Well, I was gonna say, like, whenever I saw it, it's like, wait, you have all these like landmass like that are scattered and broken around this big golden tree. Elden Ring, is that you?
Yeah.
Just that meme of like every JRPG be like Yggdrasil, the world tree.
The world tree's cool. I don't know what
It
to
is a
tell
cool
you.
tree. Don't
The
get me
world tree
wrong.
is cool as fuck. Yeah.
Much like Fate makes you understand what if the moon was evil. What if the other good fantasy thing is, what if a big tree was everything?
What
Yeah.
if there was a big tree?
You know what else has a big tree? Zelda.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what else has an evil moon? Zelda.
Well, there you
You're
go.
right.
What?
See?
I'm pitching my next big JRPG context to Square Enix. Okay, what if there was a big tree and an evil moon, and someone was trying to drive the evil moon into the big tree? And then the tree at the end of the game turns into like a baseball catcher's mitt and just grabs it.
Or the big tree holds up the moon.
Oh. It cradles the evil moon.
That's right.
Ah.
It's like holding it back.
And then you get a shot from above, and it looks like the moon is like an egg in a bird's nest.
Yeah.
And then a big bird
Symbology.
from space flies down and blows up the whole planet.
Ain't that just how FF14 1.0 ended?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
7.0.
Correct.
Oh god.
But no, Mario Luigi is very good so far. I'm very enjoying it. It's just very fun and energetic and a delight the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name, but the new voice actor that plays the brothers now, he's doing a great job.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
You can Kevin Afghani, that's his name. You can kind of tell that he's not Charles Martinet with Mario,
Mm-hmm.
like every so often, but his Luigi is incredibly spot on.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that's really good. The only other thing I did is it's time for you to zone out because Ben's gonna talk about comic books.
All right, hit us.
What's this gorgeous 10 milligram melatonin I've got right here?
Oh my god! Oh look, I've got alcohol. Don't say me.
All three of the Absolute DC lines are now, the first issues for all of them are all now out. And Absolute DC, more like absolutely cooking, because it's all good stuff.
Look, I saw a couple pages of that Batman. I saw like one specific page of that Wonder Woman. I'm that dog that's watching I'm that person who walks into the room watching that dog turning a baby's soft cartilage head into pottery.
Yeah.
Like, it's maybe a classic example of bad parenting, but let's see where they're going.
Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
All three of them are absolute bangers. Like, they're incredible stuff. I'm biased towards Batman because out of all the DC stuff, Batman is what I know the most about.
Sure.
And Batman's the only one that has 2 issues right now. But I think that one's my favorite, but they're all really, really good.
Okay.
Wonder Woman has this great bit where, like, she's making her first appearance in, like, the public world after being in hell for all of her life.
Good for
and
her.
She's like demons are attacking a city, and like she's just strolling up to fight the demons, and she walks up to an army guy, and she's like, "Are you in charge around here?" And he goes, and she goes, "Okay, so not you. Where's the guy in charge?"
Good for her.
Superman is great because he is like, the first issue is about him trying to fight the corrupt leaders of this little town who are sending the miners into poisonous gas mines. And he's gonna fuck them all up because, you know, power to the people and all that.
Sure, of course.
And Lois Lane works for the government, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, okay.
And Batman is just great because he's 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide.
I love the idea of Lois Lane as a government agent and just like falling in love with Superman. Like, I need to take him back to Area 51.
I'm gonna study him so hard.
Can we get Lois Lane like doing like the sexy dissection threats or whatever?
Yeah. There's the way Batman is handling Alfred is that he's like an ex-CIA agent that is like still like doing like spy stuff, and he's brought back to Gotham to work on like a case, and he runs into Batman because in this timeline Bruce is just like a guy.
He's not like a rich guy with dead parents.
Well, I think he still has dead parents.
No, he has the dead dad. His mom's still alive, which is crazy. But he's just
I saw that panel where it mentions like he like every like 3 weeks or whatever he goes to visit Joe Chill in prison.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, it's really like Bruce is like really, really good in this because Alfred's like following, like he figures out Bruce is Batman.
Sure.
And he's like, this guy just like does a construction job, and he goes and visits the guy who killed his dad, and he just goes and talks to his mom. What the fuck is this? And then he goes out and he breaks the legs of every criminal in Gotham. What the fuck is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy? That rules.
There's a great bit where like they first fight and Alfred has this like super shot, like a Doom super shotgun. And he's like trying to kill Batman, and Batman steals it. And the next time they encounter each other, Batman points the shotgun at him, and Alfred's like, "Huh, I knew it. You couldn't stick to your no-kill morals. I'm too much of a threat." And he pulls the trigger, and a bunch of tiny batarangs shoot out and hit him in the face.
Wait, we gotta let him cook. Hold
Alfred is like, "I fucking hate this guy." In the second issue, there's a bit where they fall down an elevator shaft, and they're like in this building under construction. They're talking about how like, Alfred's like, "Okay, we need to get out. I have a car around back. Do you have a car?" And Bruce is like, "We're in it." And the next panel is this giant tank of a Batmobile shooting out of the wall of the building.
Great.
It's so good.
I'm loving this interpretation, like conceptually, of a Batman whose Batmobile is or rather to say, a Batman who's not like the Batman if he was the guy who made the Killdozer, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what he is. Yeah.
Like, he's just some Joe who's like, I've had enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have to armor a bulldozer and go on a rampage.
What's really cool is there's a in issue 1 you find out that Bruce like, you know, grew up around like in a you know, in the city, and like a kind of a poor area of the city, and his childhood friends growing up were Waylon Jones and Edward Nygma and Oswald Cobblepot and Selena Kyle.
Oh.
And like in issue 2, they finally convince Bruce to join them for poker. And it's just Bruce Wayne playing poker with like Harvey Dent and Oswald Cobblepot and Waylon Jones.
That's
like
great.
Just these guys. And it's like, this is either gonna suck
Oh, sure.
or it's gonna be like really, really heartwarming the whole time.
Right.
Like, oh wow, we have a Batman that just doesn't have a rogues gallery.
Right. Although they are almost certainly going to give that man a rogues gallery.
Oh, they're
but
gonna
we'll
like
see.
their setup for the Joker is actually really cool because he's name dropped in the end of issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
And because the guy that Alfred has been stalking on the side mission before, they're like, no, go to Gotham and like, you know, do work there. Is he's stalking this guy, this mysterious guy, and the last page reveals that like his target is this guy only known as the Joker because he's never seen smiling or laughing.
Oh, great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, ooh.
I see. Okay.
I'm like fucking hedonism bot over here.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been a DC guy. Like, I've respected it from a distance, you know.
Sure,
and I've got
course.
like, a friend gave me a volume of Green Arrow because her library was getting rid of them, and she's like, "Does anyone want some of these comics?" And I'm like, oh, "Fuck it, I'll take that Green Arrow."
Sure.
But like, I've never really been into DC, but this is great.
Yeah.
Like, this is just
Okay.
a great starting point to jump onto a DC thing. This Absolute and the new Ultimate are just like, this is what you would want these two companies to be doing.
Right.
I
Like-
would say I'm like more of a DC person, but like with the caveat of what would need to happen in my dream zone is that the DC wins legal parental custody over Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man is a DC hero to me for some reason. Like, he just has
Red
the
Bull.
vibe of a DC hero, and then all of Marvel would be consigned to Ash.
Yeah.
Normal things to want.
Yeah. I think it's a completely normal impulse to have. Sure.
It is very funny seeing Absolute Batman being like this kind of down on his luck everyman, you know, living in the underbelly of Gotham, and like kind of and having a single female parental figure, and like no big prospects in his life. And then Ultimate Spider-Man is this pretty well-off rich guy with like a wife and kids and like high-tech resources at his beck and call.
Yeah.
It's like, interesting.
I just think that Batman, Spider-Man, and Harvey Birdman should all be on a crime-fighting team together.
Yes.
Yes, specifically Harvey.
Yes.
Like not the Hanna-Barbera classic superhero Birdman.
No, Harvey Birdman, attorney
Yeah,
at law.
but the lawyer who Midnight's is a superhero.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, Absolute DC is great. High props to all those. Very fun series. And I'm looking forward to more of it.
Okay.
Let's get to the news.
Let's do it anew.
Fallout. Macaulay Culkin joined season 2 of Prime Video series.
Sure. Why not?
Absolutely, he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God, I really hope so.
It's very nice. It's kind of like impressive to see someone from Red Letter Media finally get their big shot on like a major film production.
Yeah.
You know, that's gotta feel really
I'm
good for
proud
those
of
guys.
them.
Yeah.
Those guys, they really know how to nurture talent.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Staklasa and like Mike and Rich should both be in there though, as like weird, unwashed wasteland guys who get, like, killed as a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we need, as a society, we need to see Jay in ghoul makeup.
Yeah, I think it would drive too many people insane, though.
It would, but that's why we need to do it.
Well, here's the alternative. I think who I think would make a better ghoul than Jay? Jack Packard.
Jack Packard is basically halfway there because he's so fucking bald.
Oh, do you know what Mike and Rich should be though?
Raiders.
No,
skeletons.
They should face cap them onto super mutants. They should be two jackass bumbling super mutants.
I really want, more than anything, for Fallout 5 to, one, for some reason take place in Wisconsin, and for two, for you to just find the Red Letter Media goons as like comical skeletons that you find in a garage somewhere.
They should,
right? The Plinkett house should be in Fallout 5.
Yes.
I have a suggestion. If you can't do that, if Wisconsin is too outlandish for you, you go back on and decanonize Fallout Tactics or whichever one it was, and have your Chicago Fallout, and you could just believably have Mike and Rich there,
or you
because they're both from Chicago.
You do Fallout Detroit, which I think would be like an absolutely A+ setting, right?
Oh yeah,
you can kind of also get away with having the Plinkett house there as well, right? The Half in the Bag house. You could totally.
Okay, so you could do Half in the Bag in Detroit, like the Half in the Bag interpretations of them in Detroit.
Yes.
But you could not do Red Letter Media anywhere.
No.
Anywhere else.
Except for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But you absolutely could make the Half in the Bag house, and then just have two skeletons sitting around a TV surrounded by beer bottles and VHS tapes or blank hollow tapes.
I think I'm going to tweak it a little bit. Mm-hmm. It should be Mike and Jay as ghouls, but Plinkett is a skeleton in the chair that they have just not moved in 200 years.
And continue to talk to and about as though he is still present.
And you talk to the ghouls, and their repeating quest is you have to go find holotapes for them to review, and then you can come back and listen to idle dialogue where they're just talking about dumb shit about the holotapes.
Yes, please. I love this plan.
And occasionally there's just silence because they're thinking that Plinkett is saying something.
Yeah. Great.
The point is Macaulay Culkin is great casting for this series. I'm so excited.
If he is fantastic, I'm going to be over the moon. It's already going to be the best show of 2025, right?
Yeah. It's exactly what you need. Next, No Man's Sky just got its best new feature in years.
Which
one's that? They keep getting new ones.
It is save transfers between consoles.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they didn't have that yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's good.
So that is a pretty big thing.
They're just continuing to pluck away at that game until Light No Fires comes out, so good for them.
Yeah.
They're just gonna keep adding shit to it.
I'm glad for them.
Well, what I've liked, too, is that the reason they can keep this going is because as they're making Light No Fire, they keep going, here's a new No Man's Sky update. We're backporting cool technological updates we made for Light No Fire into No Man's Sky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way you do it.
Like the whole Oceans update they had earlier this year was always like, yeah, we figured out some really cool ocean and water tech for Light No Fire, and so we just decided to go and backport it into this game because, it makes people buy the game, which in turn funds the continuing development of Light No Fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if Bethesda did that with 76 and 4.
Oh, I wish.
We'd live in a much better world.
Yeah, no, Starfield wouldn't have turned out the way it did if they were smart, but they're not, so.
Next, lack of interest in the PS5 Pro is forcing scalpers to sell them for a loss. I called it.
Actually, the problem is that what scalpers are selling for an absurd amount of money is the disk drive.
Yes.
Because they didn't make as many goddamn disk drives as they did PS5 Pros.
Something was pointed out to me on another podcast, which I think is very funny. A significant part of any scarcity that there is of the disk drive for like the PS, not just specifically disk drive for PS Pro, but like, or no, excuse me. There is a thing where that I found out about the PS5 Slim in response to this, which is that the PS5 Slim has a disk drive and a non-disk drive version, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The difference is that they are in fact the same PS5, but the one with the disk drive comes packaged with the separate disk drive in the same box, and you have to install it like the separate disk drive.
I see.
I did hear about that. That's so dumb.
And it's apparently been the sticking point for, like, you know, listening to like some of the Gigaboots coverage talking about the PS5 Pro, because, you know, obviously Dan Video Games bought one of those because despite his protestations, he is kind of a Sony pony. But it is like the big sticking point for PS5 Pro is also like, yeah, if you do get the disk drive, installing it like feels so cheap and horrible that it's like you feel like you're about to break this brand new $780 piece of technology you just got.
It's one of those things that reminds me of like this old like third party like retro console that I remember hearing about a while ago that doesn't have a power button.
What?
And the way you turn it off is you unplug it.
Oh, that's cursed.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But no, I called this. I said this like a couple months ago on the podcast about like, yeah, PS5 Pros are going to sell so badly that scalpers are going to have to sell them at a loss.
Yeah, they're going to lose money, which I think is great.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take that PS5 Pro off your hand for $200.
Yeah, dude, I would love to help you move
And then
that.
I'll go and sell my current PS5 for $400.
I'm excited for after the Switch 2 comes out for Sony to basically immediately like come to me presenting like their cut off fingers in a box, like, please, we're taking $200 off the price of the PS5 Pro and the normal PS5. Please come back, please.
Please.
And then I like very slowly shut the door on their face as they scream and cry.
Get out of and call the police on them to get out of my fucking yard.
I'll be like, please buy the PS5 Pro, and I'll be like, dance.
You must dance for me.
I suppose I can consider buying the PS5 Pro if perhaps you, I don't know, stop charging money for PlayStation Plus.
Maybe.
So, you know, why? It's just like, why would I want to play Monster Hunter Wilds on the PlayStation 5 Pro if I have to pay like $50 or $60 a month a year in rent with it? Why would I do that?
'Cause they're fucking
I would like to help you out, Sony, but my friend Mario is coming by later today, and I simply don't have the time.
You two are like slowly turning into Augustus St. Cloud.
Slowly.
I could hear the voice shifting while I was doing it. And suddenly Quiz boy, yes, I have.
Just comes out.
That would be a plot in season 8. Is that St. Cloud like buys like 100 PS5 Pros and brags to Billy because Billy and White can't find one, and then at the end it's like, well, no one wants them, and like White, like St. Cloud just has to sell them at a loss.
Yeah.
Quiz boy, I overheard from the X grapevine that you were looking for the anniversary edition of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Wouldn't you know that I happen to own all 13,600 units of the limited edition, never be reprinted gray PlayStation 1 colors? You only have to get down and kiss my little toesies, Quiz boy.
Herman Holst is a friend.
Perhaps more, if my social link points go high enough.
St. Cloud would call it X.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. He would just call it X.
Oh, no, he'd be the new Elon Musk social media platform, Cross.
The everything platform. And then Rusty is like, what the hell is X? Is that like Twitter?
Yeah.
No, it's a completely different website with no relation.
It's to replace everything else in your life, Quiz boy.
Rusty getting obsessed with trying to get into X the Everything app because he heard it's an exclusive club, even though he already has a Twitter.
He thinks you can get laid through X, right? Because it sounds like a porn site, right?
Showing women his gold account that he pays like the business rent on.
Yeah, he pays $1,000 a month for Ventures Industries to have a gold account.
God. St. Cloud sells all the PS5 Pros at a loss, but Billy and White find out too late to buy one of their own, so they still don't get one by the end of the episode.
Yeah! One day they'll let us make a new season of Venture Brothers.
PS5 Pros? Cut to the Monarch.
Yeah.
Trying to use them like a supercomputer, like the fucking PS3, right?
Yeah. except for one that at 21 just kind of
snuck
scrolls
off
away.
with,
Yeah. And that's why it doesn't work, because it's missing exactly one unit.
Yes.
All these PS5 Pros and none of them can run Dragon's Dogma 2 at the 60. What the hell?
Sweetie, you don't have an 8K TV.
But they said it can run 8K on the box! What the hell?
Oh, God.
This sucks. I'm going back to playing Persona 4 Golden on the Vita.
Please let us make another season.
Oh,
of Venture Brothers.
please, we've got ideas.
We're funny.
We'll give them to you, Doc. You can have them.
Jackson and Doc, you can have
these ideas.
Oh,
What you
God.
can't have is money to make another season of the Venture Brothers. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so what we do is we buy up all the PS5 Pros and we sell them, and we give the money to Doc and Jackson.
We somehow, what we do, okay, is we have to go and steal every single limited edition classic PlayStation 5 Pro that looks like a PS1, right? We
Right.
steal them from everybody who got one. And then we resell them and we make a fucking bank. And then we give that money to Doc and Jackson, right?
If you give us $50 on Patreon for December,
We
we'll
promise
donate
to
all
send
of that
that.
money to Doc and Jackson to make Venture Brothers Season 8.
Yeah. You can make it for $50.
Yeah, sure. Those episodes probably don't cost much, right? Right?
You
Right?
just have to get you and like 1 or 2 million of your friends to do that.
Yeah, it's
And I
not
promise.
hard.
I promise. Definitely, all that money will definitely go to those two, and not
Definitely.
any of it to us
and
for
not
like buying
to
a big
our-
house
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
paying off our various and sundry debts or anything like that.
Yeah,
You
not
know,
at all.
Credit card debt and student loans. Don't worry about it, right?
Paying deep web hitman to target certain public political figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, next. Brush up on your insult sword fighting skills. Someone is making an unofficial Monkey Island game.
Oh, okay.
The game is called The Booze of Monkey Island, and apparently there is a early access demo out now. And I am interested in checking that out.
Okay, that sounds cute.
Yeah, it's a good way if no one else is going to do it. And then it's not like Monkey Island doesn't have a history of games that weren't made by the original creators. So
Right.
what's the
That's fine. You can make a Monkey Island fan game. You can get away with that for sure.
you do whatever you want. Next, X-Men comics no longer including QR codes after outcry from unhappy fans.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah, really? Oh, you're gonna hide the last
Word?
page behind a QR code. Yeah, no wonder no one was happy with that.
I can't imagine why people would fucking be mad about that.
Yeah, can you? It blows my mind. People don't want to have to do all this extra work to get the last page of a comic. Really?
It's
Wow.
it's so fucking stupid.
It is one of those things that I agree with old people about, which is no QR codes and things.
Oh, I will never use a QR code for a fucking menu ever.
Print
Go
a
to hell.
menu, okay,
No.
and laminate it.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste paper? Okay, laminate it.
It doesn't even have to
Easy.
be a fancy menu. Fuck you. Just print it on like a nothing printer, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. Nobody cares anymore.
If I have to, if I go to a restaurant and my only way to engage with the offerings at the restaurant is to use my phone, I leave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
absolutely not.
gonna put up with that.
I'm old.
That's-
I will not do that. Use a fucking... Go buy some menus. Like, there are people whose thing is that they just make menus for you. Do that. Sorry.
There's a Wendy's on the way to my commute, which I have occasionally stopped at for breakfast, and I resent it now because Wendy's has this thing where they have replaced their drive-in, like, you know, like the normal drive-through, like two-way radio thing, whatever, right? With an AI voice recognition thing.
Oh, fuck that.
Fuck that.
No.
And it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not like it has a problem. If anything, it's better at taking the orders half the time than whatever. The problem is, like, I can't even have this briefest of contact with real human
Right?
beings making
No.
like, what the fuck are we doing?
Like, what are you...
What is the purpose? What does it even accomplish?
I don't come out here for optimal food service. I come here to bebop around with the other people who live in my city.
That's right.
It feels like we're approaching like those fucking old cartoons where they were doing like the House of the Future.
It's like you press a button and like every task is done for you and applied to you.
Yeah.
It's weird to see alienation as described by Karl Marx in his numerous seminal writings on capital to just play out in like the most literal interpretation of it, where it's like, no, capital efficiency is quite literally melting down every social bond for profit.
Yeah, it's incredible. I didn't think it would be that literal, but here we are.
Yeah.
You can't even talk to the person who is normally going to be telling someone else to make your food. You talk to a computer that relays text instructions to the cooks. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
What is even the purpose?
Like
of
the next step is you pull up to the window and a fucking conveyor belt just dumps the bag into your lap.
Right.
Like what
if you're gonna do this, you have to at least do it. Have y'all ever been to a Witch?
No.
It's a sandwich
yes.
place. It's like kind of like it's like a Subway adjacent kind of sandwich place, right? It's nicer quality in my opinion. But the thing they do to make sure they don't fuck up your order is that when you are ordering, and like you walk in and like you order at the desk or whatever.
Right.
But what you do instead of like giving actually giving your order through voice or whatever is you take the sandwich wrapper and it has a checklist of what you want on the back of it and you mark off what you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, that's at least, you're still having, though, like, a material interaction with the person there and handing it over, and you can still, like, watch them make it and whatever. But it's like, it's literally just there to make sure that you get exactly what you want, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, just give me something, please.
No.
Just give me this one thing. No, QR codes are nightmares, and this AI voice recognition is, we're getting, we've seen videos where it's like, this fast food place is staffed by no one. It's like, that's haunting.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No. Stop it. Comic books are already suffering enough. Don't make them worse by including QR codes. Unless the QR code is going to lead me to a page where I can, like, buy an action figure or something.
Right, at a discount.
Fucking
exactly.
no. Ugh.
Can we get, okay, I'm going to make my devil's advocate pitch for QR codes in Western comics,
what now?
Look, if we can revoke Heroes Don't Do That and get the page where Batman gives Catwoman head, but like it's censored by a QR code and you have to go on the web to read it.
That would do it.
Okay, you know what? Yeah.
See, look, if you're listening,
right.
look, DC freaks, Marvel freaks, all you soulless suits, I know you're listening to this podcast, which is why we make no money, because you don't even pay your own artists. Why would you pay us? But like, take that idea, please.
Yeah, please.
I think it would be very funny.
We need this to happen. The other application I could think of is they put out a single issue of a Gwenpool comic, and it's like, hey, if you want Gwenpool to survive, scan her QR code so she can live in your phone.
Turn her into a Shimeji.
Yeah.
Gwenpool issue where all the dialogue boxes are QR codes. The villain of the issue is just encrypting everybody's dialogue for no reason. That
would have been a good Miss Marvel issue, actually. That'd be great. That'd be funny. Next, an exciting new chapter. Devil May Cry Dragon's Dogma director returns with a new AAA studio.
He's so boned. I'm sorry. No. He says, exciting new chapter. No, it's not. No, you're so catastrophically fucked. What is this? It's like not Tencent. It's NetEase, probably. Lightspeed. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the studio, but it is
Lightspeed
through...
is... Yeah.
It is
It's
through
partially
Tencent.
owned by
Yeah.
Tencent. Yeah. Lightspeed is weirdly the people making the fucking Final Fantasy 14 mobile game. It's Lightspeed Studios.
Oh, maybe that's what he's working on.
Maybe, I don't know.
Wow,
But-
how depressing.
Yeah, extremely depressing. No, I think like not to be mean because I think Hideaki Itsuno made like 2 of my favorite video games of all time, so I have to be at least a little nice. But going like, oh, Itsuno left Capcom, that's kind of sad. To Itsuno left Capcom to go work for like something being funded by fucking Tencent is like, oh, he's an idiot. Okay.
Your cool punk rock friend from college who got you into like a bunch of bands
is now
and,
really
like,
into Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, and he got his he's excited about his new job as like a fucking like bank teller.
Yeah, no. Extremely screwed. Never been more kind of like a Nagoshi. Didn't he leave fucking RGG and went to go make something with NetEase or fucking whatever? And that also is not out yet, right?
Yeah.
No, these guys are so turbo fucked. It's not even funny. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane to just
to
lure them away. And I mean, yeah, of course, the promise of making big money is, of course, a great way to lure somebody away from their prestigious position at Capcom/Sega.
Mm-hmm.
But
I can only imagine it's that, and then it's Hideaki Itsuno, and like this happens for all of them, I know. But for Hideaki Itsuno, it's like, well, I made Dragon's Dogma. I did my actual real version of Dragon's Dogma like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I stay here, I will continue to work in a studio that makes games. I will continue to be gainfully employed. They're going to make me make a game that is part of an IP that I am extremely bored with. And I don't want to do that.
Sure.
That's a shame, because that's just like, I don't like think it's necessarily a negative judgment on like DMC or anything like that, so much as it is like that's just how game dev is now.
Sure,
when you're with like the big publishers, where it's just like, no, make this thing that we know is successful instead of doing a new thing.
Yeah, and we know you're good at it, so like,
Yeah.
make DMC 6. And I'm sure he's like tired of making DMC games because he made the best one, and it's like, well, we don't need to make another one, right?
Right.
But I also think it's like, oh, he's going to start his own studio. Oh, it's owned in part by Tencent.
Yeah.
Like this whole what was it? The studio that bought up like IDOS and all of that. Embracer.
Mm-hmm.
This NetEase Tencent shit. It's the next one of those.
Well,
like,
listen.
they're held up better by
Well,
like Chinese capital, which is like way has much more money behind it. But it's still gonna go the same way.
Well, don't worry, Sarah. It's not like anything bad happened to Embracer.
Oh yeah, no, totally. No, it didn't set off the fucking domino effect that ended in like 10,000 fucking layoffs or anything, right? It's fine.
I will say, like, and I think this is like the cruelest of the irony is, I know the other reason why I think a lot of these dudes want to do that is like, and I think this is the actual reason Itsuno wants to do it too, is like, this is a dude who made his career in the days when a game took 2, at most 3 years to develop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now all these new games are taking 5, 6, 7 years of
And
time.
he's old.
And like realistically, like he wants to keep making games, but he wants to go back to making things that take 2 or 3 years to develop and not be doing like these big 6, 7 year endeavor
Except he
things.
said it's a AAA studio.
Well, that's the thing though, is that it's like, I'm sure it was the plan to go like, yeah, we're going to spend a lot of money and we're going to whip something out in a good time frame and like make 2-3 year dev cycle games. Because that's like what all these dudes want to do.
Yeah.
The problem is that like, and this is the extra layer of like cruel irony, is that it's a studio funded by one of the 2 big non-Japanese like big corporate publishers like Tencent or NetEase. And they're like, the market has shown, especially with stuff like the new Mana game, they're like, no, we don't want to do like the B game scale of development that Japanese devs like to do. It's Sun Wukong or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a game that took fucking several years to make and tons and tons of money.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it made tons of money because it sold super well in China, right?
Right.
And did well enough, like, in the United States. But, like, and if you don't do those numbers, you're basically dead in the water, right? This is just, you're basically setting yourself up to get mona'd, right?
Right.
to just have your game come out and then immediately be like, all right, hit the bricks. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I know it's bleak, but I don't have any...
This is...
And for Mana, I don't even think they even, like, because obviously the game, they had fucking canned the studio on launch day, right? It wasn't even the metrics performance.
Yeah,
it was literally, the thing they were specifically like is like, this scale of production does not turn out the insane returns. Like, it's stable, but we don't want, like, something that only costs us, like, $10 or $20 million to make and gets, like, you know, a couple 100,000 sales. We only want to bet big and win big.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, you know, it's the problem with the industry as a whole, especially when you think of the talent behind it. Because, yeah, like, Itsuno is probably tired. He's tired of making Devil May Cries, right?
Yeah.
Or at the very least of making Capcom IP games that all take 6 or 7 years of his life to get one of out the door.
And the problem is, because of the new cycle of games, we don't have a guy to replace him to make more Devil May Cries.
Right.
Like, we don't have a talent pool for this. Like, you know, there was an article recently, or a report recently where Nomura is like, yeah, I don't know how much longer I got left in me. And it's like, okay, well, shit. Who is Nomura's replacement? Who's his second in command that's gonna make games of that caliber? There's no one left because they fire everyone.
Yeah.
Like, the people who are in charge of like you know, the people where you don't want to associate as like sole credit to a product to one guy, right? But like, you know, there is no doubt that Itsuno and Kojima and Nomura and these big names, there's no one to replace them when they go.
Yeah,
we have not nurtured that talent.
Yeah, like there's nobody who's like able to kind of really take the reins and do big direction. It's kind of like movies, right? Like movies are in a very similar position. Like there's a handful of like really great directors, but I mean the reason you know, you always hear like this indie director got snatched up by Disney to make the latest, you know, like, you know, Marvel versus Slop 5 is because these indie directors are like, well, I just need to pay my rent. I'll do whatever you say, right?
Yeah, I just
want to make movies.
Yeah, I'll make the garbage.
I'll make your garbage, and that's why there aren't as many like young, like huge auteur directors. It's easier to be like a young auteur director because movies are still like, you can still make a small scale movie and make money off of it through streaming, right? Even though like that landscape is also super different these days. But like, especially in games, which are now such like huge money sinks and you know, require thousands of man hours and hundreds of people and you know, millions of dollars, you can't take the chance on like some young guy to be like, hey, like be the total creative, like the creative force between like of this entire video game because if it flops and this guy's creative vision is fucked up, or you know, then you're just out, you know, $500 million, right?
Yeah. How many?
Well, we see the like the presage of this, and like part of the. And it's the reason I always feels like so weird about like the hero worship of directors, even though I do a lot of it myself, and like thinking about that classic IGN thing of like Warren Spector, the creator of Deus Ex, saying, "I wish people didn't call me the creator of Deus Ex."
Yeah.
But like we saw this, funnily enough, with Metal Gear Solid 4 first, when Kojima was trying to step away from that franchise and pawn it off on one of his subordinates so they could take it over, and was basically pressured into stepping back in. And now that he's not with Konami, there's no future for Metal Gear at Konami.
Yeah,
it doesn't
literally
matter
don't make those games anymore.
Like it doesn't matter if the fucking remakes or Delta or whatever did fucking gangbusters. Like there's not going to be more Metal Gear games because like we tied that entire franchise to that one creative voice, and now that he's out of that game, there's just no one to pick up that slack. And but like you're also not, as a company, going to take those gambles on people who got their start like the way that Kojima did.
Yeah, you know, obviously it's not solely on the shoulders of one person, but there is no doubt that their influence and their creativity is an important aspect in the development of these projects, right?
Well, yes,
like,
but what I mean is that like the industry like form for these talents to then like nurture their successors just does not exist anymore.
Yeah, like how many Kojimas or Nomura's or Warren Spectors are stuck doing texture work for fucking Battlefield 35 DLC Pack 8.
Right.
And then get fired immediately.
Or like how many of them are like, well, yeah, you're the fucking combat loop director, like lead on this game, but next game we're gonna put you in the creative seat for the new thing that we're making, and then your entire studio got shut down, even though the game did well.
Mm-hmm.
Or like again, like, hey, we can't trust you to direct this game because you haven't done anything at the triple or quadruple A scale before. But it's like all the studios that give work are working at the triple A. Like there is no single A developers really, or even a whole lot of double A developers anymore. Like there's like it's only like the weird like no budget Eurojank games and like the shit that Tripwire Interactive or this or that other fucking obscure American studio makes, where it's like you actually have any chance at all of like being given the faith to work in a project that's not going to fucking bankrupt your company if it bombs.
Yeah, we've just gotten way too big for the industry, and as we start to lose people like Itsuno here, like it's just gonna get worse and worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we are losing all of these creative visions, the few that we have left, that are just gonna get too old and too tired to do it anymore and get bored with it. And they did not have the ability to nurture a new talent.
Yeah.
And fuck.
You're fucked too.
You're fucked too. It keeps going down to that. And hey, guess what? Speaking of you're fucked too.
Oh boy.
Microsoft's gaming chief is still looking for acquisitions, sees future growth. Oh, okay.
Oh, word?
You're telling me now that Trump is the president-elect, Microsoft's chief is feeling a lot more comfortable going, yeah, we're just going to continue acquiring things.
Okay, sure, right. All right.
Sure. Yeah,
like,
we'll see how that works out.
Did the Biden presidency and its thing stop him? No. Like, zero faith. However, I'm certain that the Trump appointees are going to be like, yeah, you know, you're a good American company, and these Japanese pretenders need to be put in their place.
Right, exactly.
Like, go buy whatever the fuck you want.
Right, yeah. They will not even remotely stop them. Although, again, like you said, the Biden administration also would only put up like the most perfunctory of fights, right?
Not that it will ultimately make a difference for Xbox Live anyway. As we've seen, their Activision thing has done nothing but lose them money.
It has done nothing but lose them money.
Yeah,
they haven't put anything out.
We're gonna see future growth. You know, kind of like how a termite colony grows and devours the structures that hold up a building.
Yeah, and like it's going to certainly cause the complete collapse of the AAA, quadruple A gaming space, and like leave a crater in its wake.
Okay, I mean,
there's not going. The problem is there's not going to be a single or double A space either. And everything is going to have to be rebuilt from scratch while people starve because their various degrees are no longer worth anything in the transitory period. And it's like
it really is a race to the bottom between Sony and Microsoft right now. And Sony's only hope is that Microsoft drowns first.
I don't think that's going to stop Sony from drowning either.
Oh no!
I mean, it'll definitely buy them time until the Switch 2 comes out,
or until to segue news, until one of their acquisitions comes through.
Hey!
Oh my god!
Is that on the docket, Ben?
I don't think it is, so we can talk about it now.
Oh my god! Yeah, we'll talk about it right now.
I don't know if it's rumors or if it seems like it has been like highly credible scuttlebutt.
It's been literally confirmed because Kadokawa presented they showed the actual the letter of, I guess, intent of acquisition, or like the letter like suggesting an acquisition, right? Like,
so basically, Sony's in talks to is trying to workshop like how the logistics of buying out Kadokawa.
Oh yeah, I did put this on the docket. It was like I just put it like right before we started recording. So this is on here. Yeah, so cool. Yeah.
And so, notably, Kadokawa, a lot of gaming outlets have been reporting this because Sony wants to own Dark Souls and Elden Ring and all that, because Kadokawa is the majority owner of FromSoft, or the majority stakeholder in FromSoft.
Yeah.
More importantly, though, Kadokawa is also a giant multimedia publishing thing in like every media imaginable in Japan, and includes the company that owns Dungeon Meshi. Funnily enough, it includes Yen Press and a bunch of other like monthly serials over there, and it's like they have TV and everything, and it's like they're just trying to go ahead and make a more full entertainment monopoly over in Japan.
Also owns Spike Chunsoft, so they'd be getting Danganronpa.
The thing is, like, buying Kadokawa in Japan is a big deal just because Kadokawa owns a lot of stuff. But even more importantly, by buying Kadokawa, they would functionally monopolize the anime market in the United States.
Yeah, because
right?
they would they already own Funimation and Crunchyroll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like fucking what's left after that? High Dive.
They own Aniplex, right? Like, I mean, they own everything. Like, like they would essentially like completely monopolize the North American anime market. Like, because buying Kadokawa in Japan is a big deal, but there are other anime producers. I mean, Toei is still there, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's still other anime producers, other publishers, small publishers, that kind of thing. Other, like, magazines and shit that are getting printed. But that market is a lot smaller in the United States, and Kadokawa is a huge piece of it. So that would be really bad. Yeah, they would literally just own, like, an entire chunk of culture in the United States, which is insane.
It's insane that, like, this is, To say, like, this is kind of comparable to Microsoft trying to buy ActiBliz, but this is somehow worse for us, and it'll also be easier for for Sony to do.
Yeah.
And it's going to be way more helpful to Sony than buying ActiBliz was for Microsoft.
Oh yeah, because Sony's not going to spend 80 billion United States dollars buying Kadokawa.
Oh God, no.
And they're not gonna fight to buy it for 4 years.
No, they would get a majority stake in FromSoft, which would be a huge boon for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, they'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd be over the moon for that. So yeah, it's still like not great. It's still extremely bad.
It's not great, but it's not great in the nothing ever happens way.
Right.
Of like, well, we're not really, we're not gonna see buildings shutting down like Microsoft, but it's still not great.
No.
They shouldn't be able to do this.
For reference, by the way, and this is actually interesting. So, remember when Sony, or PlayStation specifically, I forget which, bought Bungie for about $4 billion?
Yes, I do remember that.
The Kadokawa Corporation's market cap is about 585 billion yen.
Okay.
Which is about $3.8 billion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they can buy that easily. Absolutely.
But you know that Akewood bit that's like a cool 600?
Yeah.
Like Sony just walking around looking at companies like, yeah, I think that one's a cool $4 billion.
We're looking at a 600 here.
Ooh, I just bought the company. I want to buy the company that makes Dungeon Meshi. That's going to be a cool $4 billion.
$600 is class money.
Shit. Shuhei Yoshida's birthday coming up. It's looking like it's going to be $4 billion US dollars.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I want to point out, by the way, the context of that Akewood comic, why 600 was a thing, is that whenever Ray needs to apologize for something, he gives them $600.
Oh my God. Great.
Conversely, the other alternative is like, why'd you write a check for $4 billion US dollars to the Kadokawa Corporation? I like their product. I want them to have a little walking around money.
I wanted Dungeon Meshi to have a little walking around money.
I do.
I actually, you know what? That's fine.
Look, here's the thing, and I have to play devil's advocate for myself. Because on one hand, there is the rational ego and super ego part of me who knows that these corporate acquisitions are uniformly bad, and there's no silver lining of any kind to be found here. But I also do look at the id side of me, and I do know in my heart of hearts that if they got a FromSoft B team to make a Dungeon Meshi game, I would forgive everything.
I'm feeling very Larry David gif about this. It's like, if Dungeon Meshi gets more money out of it, then I can't be too mad. But
what
I'm
if we
still
got a
pretty
Dungeon
mad.
Meshi video game? But I'm also not happy.
I'm not happy, but I will play like 259 hours of the FromSoft B Team's Dungeon Meshi video.
Yeah.
Streaming the Dungeon Meshi Souls-like with a scowl on my face the entire time to show I don't approve of how this game was made.
But then I see Izutsumi and I immediately break into a full-face smile.
Shaking my head at every credit.
It's a land of contrast being
It is.
the hostage consumer in this colossal fucking world with all of its evil.
I'm just thinking of the Penny Arcade comic where they're making fun of Michael Bay Transformers movies, and they're talking about how Michael Bay replaced Megatron with a fondue pot. and it's Gabe shoveling chocolate in his mouth like, Michael Bay, this is a travesty. That's me like, Microsoft, how could you, as I sink another 400 hours into the Dungeon Meshi Souls-like.
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't have been able to make this game. Yes, I will buy it on Steam. Next, Mortal Kombat 1 dev NetherRealm is using Ghostface to bring back 2 obscure characters, and fans have already figured out who they are.
Oh, that's funny.
So Ghostface was revealed, which I think is probably the dumbest of the Boomer DLC characters you can make.
Yeah.
I think Fortnite has just completely inured me to every stupid bullshit Mortal Kombat reveal they do. I'm just yeah, this may as well happen, whatever.
Now, to be fair, I do agree with Chris Wolfhart in that NetherRealm should just make your dad fighter. And it's just every 80s action and horror character in a fighting game.
I propose they already have a working relationship with WB.
Yeah.
NetherRealm makes Multiverses 2, which is just a Mortal Kombat style fighting game with whatever fucking WB characters they want to shove in there.
With all the R-rated characters that they can't cartoonify for multiverses.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Look, they figured out a way to put a Leatherface in Fortnite, so I think anything's possible.
They can do whatever they want, yeah. So the cool thing that is kind of cool about Ghostface is that it's technically 2 characters, because I guess in some of the later screams, like, there's multiple Ghostfaces running around.
Yeah.
So you play as 2 Ghostfaces that tag in and out, and, like, you know, your throws are like you grab it and the other one comes up and stabs your enemy.
You're playing the Ice Climber?
Basically, yeah, kind of, yeah. Like, someone, Sonic Fox put out a clip of them, like, practicing with Ghostface, like doing mirror matches with Ghostface, and they did Ghostface's fatal blow at the same time someone else, like the opponent, did it, and, like, you literally forget which Ghostface you're playing as, like, watching them get thrown around and shoved around. Like, wait a minute, who was what? But so they're doing a thing where the characters, the Ghostfaces have vaguely Mortal Kombat moves. And it's revealed, it's hinted that underneath the masks, they're obscure Mortal Kombat deception characters, Cobra and Kira.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So it's just like underneath the mask, it's actual Mortal Kombat characters.
That's great.
That's definitely the funniest way to do that. I think more things should do that, where it's like, this isn't technically a crossover character, it's just one of our characters in a costume.
Like in MK10 with the Xenomorph, was technically a Xenomorph that came out of Tarkatan, which is how they got Baraka back in the game. They just gave his moveset to the Xenomorph. And they're like, oh, the reason the Xenomorph is kind of like humanoid proportions is because it came from a Tarkatan and not an other alien.
Right.
The one funny thing about Ghostface I've seen is their fatality is it's them. They're just like, stabbing the opponent a whole lot, and then the camera zooms out to reveal that it's Johnny Cage playing Mortal Kombat. And getting mad because his opponent did a fatality to him. And he's like,
great.
Come on, how can I lose? It's just a guy with a knife. And then the real Ghostface appears behind him and stabs him.
Great.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Yeah, so coming up next on Your Dad Fighter is Conan the Barbarian and the T-1000.
These really are just dad picks. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's just every 80s, 90s action star is getting shoved in this game.
I guess they're getting them for cheap, so that's why.
Yeah,
Licensing is crazy. Yeah, you know what? No. Knowing actually my old job, yeah, the Conan the Barbarian and Terminator licenses are cheap.
I mean, they're not fucking getting Arnold Schwarzenegger to voice Conan, so
no,
whatever, it's easy enough.
They're still fucking cheap as shit. You know, that
They-
makes sense.
They didn't get Anthony Starr to voice Homelander.
Oh, come on.
Which is fucked up, I think.
That's fucked. Okay.
They did get J.K. Simmons to do Omni-Man, so that's all right.
Well,
but
that's good. Okay.
you don't get Anthony Starr? Like, fucking
The thing
really?
is, J.K. Simmons is not above just doing merc
He'll
work in
just
video
do
games.
fucking
Oh, yeah, no, that's
anything.
true, that's true.
Exactly.
I mean, they got him.
He's in fucking Baldur's Gate 3.
Is he?
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, he plays a character in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not telling you who it is, except that whenever
Okay.
you get to Baldur's Gate 3, you will hear that character speak, and you will go, "Oh fuck, that's J.K. Simmons."
Like
great.
speaking of a vanilla preview for next week, Sarah and I are doing Gravity Falls next week, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised they got as much J.K. Simmons in Gravity Falls as they did.
Well, there's a reason that character's only in, like, the back half of, like,
Yeah.
the last 8 episodes of Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
You're like,
but
we can't afford J.K. Simmons for that long.
he's in it more than I thought he would be, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
surprised.
still. I mean,
Still.
he's in the fucking Venture Brothers, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is not like I love him to bits, but he is not above doing that.
No, he'll do fucking anything, yeah.
I think it's also for him, it's one of those situations where, like, he fucking loves being Omni-Man. So, like, yeah, hell yeah, he'll do Omni-Man whenever he can.
Sure, of course.
It's continues to be my favorite thing about dearly departed Lance Reddick, where the entire reason he's the one Hollywood actor who continued to be on after all that Destiny 1 money ran out. He's like, nah, I love Destiny and playing Zavala and also just playing Destiny. I don't care if you're not going to pay me as much.
Yeah.
I will continue to show up to play this character. I will do it all the time. Even when you don't call me in to ask for it, I will still be doing fan line reads on my Twitter.
Great. Oh, rest in peace to a king.
Yeah. He's a real one for that.
There's a very funny, like, kind of catty bit he did when one of the DLCs came out, where, like, he was playing through a strike and a different character does, like, this monologue bit in the strike. And it's like a completely different character. Zavala is not there. He's not really in that DLC much. But he does the thing as though he was Zavala, and then he looked at the camera and says, "See, I could have done that shit better." Oh my god, such a king.
It's
Love
almost
that motherfucker.
It's almost always great when you have an actor who's like, no, I just fucking love playing that character. I'll do it whenever.
Yeah,
I say almost because the one exception is fucking Hades in Hercules.
Oh, yeah, no,
because James Wood
Wood
sucks.
Yeah, James Wood sucks ass, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you don't have to. We can not have you.
No.
I mean, he probably, to be fair, he probably only likes being Hades because it's the only thing that gives him a paycheck these days. So
That's correct.
Yeah, and I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if those kinds of contracts for, like, those kinds of roles come with, like, right of first refusal for reprising.
Yeah.
Right.
He's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 4 at some point, unless he dies first. Maybe he'll die first.
Like to charge reblog to cast.
Yeah.
Look, then all I'm saying is you have to be the change you want to see in the world.
That's right, Ben. If you want Kingdom Hearts 4 to be good, you know what you gotta do, buddy.
Maybe they'll also recast Axel so we can get Quentin Flynn out of things.
Oh, fuck, I hope so.
That'd be nice.
Quentin Flynn is nowhere near as iconic as James Wood as Hades, so that's
true.
easier. That's a much easier recast.
Yeah. All right, and finally, the Blockbuster Games bubble has burst. Yeah, no shit.
Oh, word?
Really?
For real?
For a second, like, Ben, you're like 20-ish
20?
years late to that headline.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is an article that IGN put out. It's less news and more like an editorial, but it's worth talking about how, like, yeah,
Sure.
you know, between fucking Concord and Suicide Squad and all this shit, like, the writing's on the wall. We've seen it coming for years, and it's finally here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming. It's absolutely, for one, nobody's got any fucking money anymore, right? And for two, like, it's just the same stuff that just keeps getting released and nobody's asking for it. Like, nobody's asking for this stuff that's just, like, you pay for, and then they just keep putting out slop for years and years, right? Like at this point, especially, everybody has at least 2 live service games, right?
Yeah.
Like we all have 2 to 3 live service games, depending on how often I'm playing FGO.
I have more live service games than I can fucking remember.
Exactly. Everybody's got a live service game already. Unless you are like putting out something kind of cheap, like you still get sleeper hit online service games like fucking everybody's saying Once Human is really good. I might actually give it a shot.
I mostly only see Korean and Japanese artists I follow on Twitter playing it. That's basically it.
But I mean, and everybody says, like, I know that there is a market for it in the United States, and like people play it and they say it's good. But the thing is, that's being made AA Korean developer, right? It's
cheap. They can afford to not require 5 million active players at all times.
Exactly. Like it has a healthy player base for a game that was developed.
Look pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, Once Human is really cool looking. I might give it a shot. It's free, so why not, right? And that's the other thing. Concord costs money. Once Human doesn't cost any fucking money, right?
I'm convinced they put out Concord for money because they're like, well, Helldivers 2 was successful despite costing $40. Forgetting that that Helldivers 2 has the element that Concord crucially lacks, any riz at all.
Yeah, any style.
And again, Helldivers 2 did not take 8 years to make and $550 million, right? Like,
well, I will say, it didn't take $550 million. It did take 8 years to make.
Well, yeah.
It did still... Actually, no, they only started working on it 4 years ago. I was literally Googling their budget.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they only started working on it in 2020.
Okay.
Okay, that must have been in pre-production for a while, though, because I know, like,
sure.
part of their thing is, like, they basically started, like, conceiving it, like, instantly after playing Metal Gear Solid V.
That's so funny.
Because again, like, I think I mentioned on the show before, but you can see if you do comparison things, like, there's lots of animations, like the Helldivers, like, diving and whatever, that are literally just like, oh, they like, traced this from Metal Gear Solid V because they really liked how Metal Gear Solid V felt, because these all feel and look the exact same.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But, like, the thing is, so it took... not a full 8 years, but it took a while, 4 years, and Google estimates are saying anywhere from $50 to $100 million to make. So, still expensive, but an amount of money that you can make back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, $50 to $100 million is, like, normal for, like, a AAA game thing, and, like, they're still like, hey, look, we are confident enough in this to sell it for 40 instead of the full 70, and it's like, it worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, like, you can't, like, once you start getting the 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, whatever the reported budget for Concord is, it's like, there is not a single video game that has lost more money than Concord, and there never will be.
Exactly.
There never will be, but I think we are going to see the Concord-like is going to be a new genre of game.
Oh, for sure.
Of the hyper expensive live service game that just immediately dies.
Yes, we're gonna see a lot of Concord likes coming soon.
Yes,
we've seen the pre-Concord likes before with like Exoprimal and like that XD X Defiant game.
Yeah,
you remember that shit?
No,
exactly.
But
yeah,
I mean, this year has already been like a huge year for flops. Like Senua 2. Flopped, right?
Yeah.
Fucking what else? Skull and Bones apparently came out, flopped.
Yeah.
That Star Wars Outlaws game that cost like a shit zillion dollars to make did not move the copies they were hoping it would move, right?
No, it did well for a game that cost about a third of what it cost to make.
Yeah, certainly. Exactly. But it did not move the amount of units that people wanted it to move, right? Like, and it's been brutal, and I'm like, good.
Yeah.
As I say, we're gonna get to early next year, and we're gonna see how little delaying that Assassin's Creed game will have made a difference.
Sorry, Ghost of Yotei is coming out.
I think even Ghost of Yotei is probably gonna do poorly, but we'll see.
Oh, probably. The thing is, I want to play it, but I won't be able to because I don't have a PS5.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to wait.
I mean, the one PS3 5 does not have the same sell-through rate as the 4. And two, I mean, yeah, I think people are burning out on like these big expensive games. Even something like Yote, I think is going to sell just fine, but I think it's going to underperform like to what Sony wants, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 to play Ghost of Yote, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great, but I'll wait for a PC release, you know?
I'm not going to buy a $500 to $800 console to play a video game. It's just simply not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I mean,
like
those days are over. I did that once upon a time. Not anymore. Now I'm a grown up. I've got bills to pay. I'm not doing that, right?
It's like, will I? I'll spend like $500 on a Switch too.
Sure.
Because I know there's going to be things on it coming out several times a year that I actually want to play.
Like I looked over at my shelf recently, and like the number of Switch games I've bought this year alone far exceeds anything I've put into the PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's nothing that's on the PS5 really that, like, again, like that list of exclusives continues to shrink, and it's like, fucking what, like Demon's Souls remake,
right?
I think everything else is on PC in some capacity, and like we all have good PCs because we fucking have PC only or PC primary live service games.
Yeah, you know,
it's.
I mean, the craziest thing about all of this, and it's the thing I can't stop thinking about, right, is that, like, I don't know. I just remember a few years ago when it seemed so certain that PC gaming was dead, right? When consoles were like, when it was like the PS, like the early years of the PS4, and the PS4 was cheap and it had a shit ton of good video games. And kind of like the end of the 360's life was also the same way, right? Mm-hmm. It was cheap and it had like a boatload of great video games, and you know, they looked great or they looked good enough,
right? Yeah,
and you know, the PS4 like kind of took over after like the 361, that generation essentially, right? And it was like, oh, it seems kind of like PC gaming is kind of doomed, and then like the end of the PS4 going into the PS5, it's like, actually no.
Yeah, actually
no. It's better to just play your shit on PC more than ever.
The ever-present diminishing returns of graphical fidelity and CPU capability have done nothing but benefit the PC market, because we are no longer at the point where the vast range of quality between even graphics cards are the quality difference between like a good graphics card from today versus 10 years ago.
I'm still running a 1080, and you know what? That 1080 serves me great.
It does fine.
Well, and that's the thing. And I think part of this too is like during like the PS4 generation, the 360 generation, like you'd have to spend a good amount of money on the hardware to imitate the performance of the consoles, right? Mm-hmm. But like the top end performance of those consoles is like really mind-boggling for the time. And like even still now, like you get to the PS5 Pro, even like the PS5 Pro for like, even if you like count the disk drive and you're like, this is an $800 console, right?
Yeah.
PS5 Pro, like in terms of the technology it brings, blows any $800 PC out of the water with zero effort. Like a fucking like a good graphics card costs more than $800. Like a really good one that would match what they're. But the thing is, it's like, that performance that you get for the PS5 Pro level is for games that are like running in UE5 with terrible temporal AA that have to do like 6 minutes of shader compilation, and it's like, and they all like run at 45 frames per second and have terrible ghosting and this, that's like, what? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Just make games. And everyone's just like, you know what's cool? When games look like they did on the PS1 and PS2. That shit ruled. Let's do that more. And then do it. It's great.
I mean, like, and even just talking about, like, higher end, like, pretty video games, right? Like, yeah, I'm sure it's super nice to play Cyberpunk 2077 on, like, a $1,500 computer. I'm sure it's fucking beautiful.
It is.
But I play Cyberpunk 2077 on a machine that optimistically probably costs about $600, maybe $700, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks great on that too.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look as good as the $1,500 machine running it with like all of the good shit, right? But it looks good enough, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right?
The crazy thing is that graphics don't have to be the best. Like, they have to look pretty good.
Yeah, that's it.
And
anything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
And so it's a thing in this, like, because I've been, like I mentioned earlier, I played a little bit of Stalker 2, and it doesn't have, like, an internal resolution thing on it, right? It's just running it whatever native is, and it sets the scale for the 3D render resolution relative to your performance needs, right? I think part of this, too, is it's, like the difference between your 1080, like, well, my old 1080
Yeah, exactly.
is still putting in a fucking valiant effort, and the 3080 I have now is mostly just, like, you know, I can run something at 1440 60 on ultra settings that you could do at like 1080 60 on the high ultra settings.
Yeah.
But also, for a game like, say, for instance, Stalker 2, the fact that, like, that makes very little difference because it's still downscaling the 1080 and then upscaling with fucking DLSS or whatever anyway, so it doesn't really look significantly better.
It doesn't matter at that point.
It just doesn't matter. And like I think that's the craziest part that's like really happened like with the whole PC market and like the console market in general is that like a cheap old card that you buy off of eBay, if you bought a cheap old card off of like a graphics card off of eBay 10 years ago, it would look cheap and old and struggle to run Fallout 4.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
A cheap old graphics card now is still a pretty good graphics card. Right?
Yeah, my 3080 does not make Fallout 76 look significantly better, or in fact, at all better than it does on your 1080.
Exactly.
Right.
I think the only difference is that my computer probably runs a little cooler because it has to do so little work.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? You compensate with that by making sure your computer is well ventilated and has plenty of fans running.
That's exactly right.
That's fine. I have a good processor. I have more than enough RAM. I have a decent graphics card, and I play most of my video games on high settings. I can't play them on ultra, but that's fine. Who cares?
Is fine.
I'm playing it on a TV, like, especially because I'm playing it on a TV, 8 feet on the other side of the room. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's perfect.
It's like I said at the beginning of the podcast, and like this is a conversation that has been going on for... It used to be cope, but now it's legit.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about how one of the neatest things I've seen in a game this year is the use of color shading in Mario and Luigi's outfits.
Yeah.
There isn't. I haven't played a game that looks better than Mario and Luigi this year.
Yeah, like.
Well, yeah, you know what we played last year? It looked really good. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Running on a Switch, which is using a GPU from 2015.
Do you want to know what game that we also played this year that I think was like the most visually striking game of the year and probably my game of the year?
1000 X Resist?
It's 1000 X Resist.
You
right?
know what,
that game that can also run on a fucking Switch, You know
what else I'm thinking of visually that was really, really impressive? Fucking UFO 50.
Yeah.
That's just 8-bit games.
Yeah, no. It doesn't even remotely matter the way it used to. It
Yeah.
doesn't even remote. And that means that, and like to kind of bring this all back home, because I do have to I have to pee mostly. But to bring this all home, it's weird how what should have killed the PC market is now what's killing the console market.
Yeah.
Where it's like video games are so much more than they've ever been, for better or for worse. And like getting a good PC put together that can run most things well enough is more accessible and easy than it's ever been. And that just means that it's just decimating the console market. Unless it's a Switch, because that's a novelty thing that you can't get anywhere else.
You know what else looks really good? That's probably going to win Best Art Direction at the VGAs this year. Looks really good. Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yeah.
The game that's running on Persona 5's engine that can run on the PlayStation 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that game is going to win Best Art Direction. Probably has the Best Art Direction, but I'm not going to play it until next year.
Right. Yeah.
Because it just has it's just effortlessly stylish, right?
Mhm.
The monsters are from Hieronymus Bosch paintings, for fuck's sake. How cool is
It's
that?
super cool.
Like, that rules. That owns. It's so good. And it's not big and fancy graphics. It's just beautiful design. That's all that matters, right?
That's what design over fidelity has been the thing that people have been coping about for years, but now it's true.
And now it's true. So my career continues to be justified somehow. I don't know how.
It's a testament to how pointless this entire hardware race has been. That I think, like, what's 2 video games that look really good? Oh yeah, Okami and Wind Waker on the GameCube, or on the Wii for one of them.
Yeah.
Or I guess Okami was on PS2 first.
PS2,
but,
I
I played it on
PS2,
Wii.
yeah.
Yeah, it was on
But
PS2.
it's still like, those are still like 2 of my touchstones for games that look great because they have incredible art direction and they're from fucking 6th gen.
I still say Vesperia is the best looking Tales game.
Yeah.
I probably agree with you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, like, it's super crazy. Just the amount of how much this like weird pursuit, and it's what's killing every studio, right? Like that's the big thing that's causing like all of these games to lose so much money, is that you've got to spend 8 years perfectly rendering somebody's, the shopkeeper's pores on his nose.
Right. You know what I would like to see graphical fidelity do for the Switch 2?
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to put out another Zelda game like Link's Awakening or Echoes of Wisdom. But with the graphical fidelity to the Switch 2, we can see stitch lines and fingerprints on the diorama models.
That's cute.
That's the only thing I would want from that.
I just want Tears of the Kingdom to run at 60 frames a second.
That would also be nice.
Look,
That's all I want.
Like the thing I've been saying the entire time, if Tears of the Kingdom runs 1080 locked 60 on the Switch 2, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, game over.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally not. Like, I could pray for 1440 60. I'm
Sure.
not that foolish. 1080 is fine.
1080 is
Perfectly
fine.
Absolutely.
I'm sure if you're modernizing it the way Nintendo is and with the current GPU technology, if you're not doing a big fancy GPU, you're still putting like good modern upscalers in there, so it looks a little bit better when it blows up on like a 4K TV or something.
Yeah.
But like, that's it, and like it
Mhm.
running Tears of the Kingdom running at a locked 1080 60 would still look and feel better than basically anything that's come out on the PlayStation 5 in its entire life cycle.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play Age of Calamity at a good frame rate.
AKA play Age of Calamity at all.
Yeah. I can't wait until Age of Calamity is playable.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of it being a slideshow. It's a weird time to be into video games because in a lot of ways it's cool because you can build a PC that can play basically fucking anything for relatively affordable. And yet everybody who makes video games keeps getting shafted.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know, man.
I have played a lot of really, really good games this year.
Yeah.
It has not been this much Nintendo in a long time.
Right.
It's just like the entire like major commercial video game industry is collapsing in a way that makes me feel increasingly like I've been playing in the last year or two. I mean, like, I have exceptions. I played Stalker 2 today. Brand new AAA video game, costs $60, whatever. Or technically, I could have gotten it for cheaper if I willingly re-enabled Game Pass, but I wanted to. GSC's based in Ukraine. They feel like maybe just for all the whatever you had to go through to develop that game. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'll buy it.
I'll give him some walking around money. Yeah.
I'll buy your video game, sweetie. But I've been playing a lot of $10 to $20 video games made by like a handful of weirdos doing it making it while working day jobs or like collecting like poverty wages off Patreon. Right? Like Echostasis came out this year.
Yep.
1000 X Resist came out this year, which we talked about. I played Lunacid this year. It came out last year, but I only played it for the first time this year. Mouthwashing.
Yeah, fucking
UFO
Mouthwashing.
50. These are all video games that were $10 to $20 and made by like some guys.
Made by some guys, and Anthology of a Killer.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was
ultimate game made by some guy.
And
that
hey,
game wasn't even $10. That was like $6.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's like, these are also like a lot of these games are like the big Twitch hits and everything. Like I played some Sulfur, which is an early access. That's like $20 or something. Like all these are the big Twitch hits that people are really flocking to and are getting lots of coverage that makes people want to go out and buy them. And increasingly, it's feeling like that is the future of Western game dev because like no one really like. It is a scant few of the AAA game space games that anyone gives a fuck about. Like, people turn up for Elden Ring, people turn up for Stalker, like, people turn up for Metaphor. But, like, so few things are, like, not even justify the price tag. So few things justify the effort of having made them.
Yeah.
Because the development is so slow that you can't actually make anything fun. You just kind of make an asset showcase a lot of the time.
Yeah.
One more to add to your indie list. Saturn is, hey, people, throw down $8 for that Castlevania Vampire Survivors DLC. That's like a whole other Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
It's $8.
If you want to, I think you know what? I don't think Mr. Gambling career needs any of my money. I play FGO enough as is. I don't need to reward those soulless ghouls who prey on my mental fallacies. But indie game made by very few people for very little money that costs basically nothing, and that is like one of the big hits of the year.
Yeah.
And the year before it, and I believe the year before that as well, if I'm not mistaken.
One of the big surprise hits of the year, and I need to play it before the year is out because everybody's talking about it, and it'd be a really funny thing to add to the Gorgies. Balatro.
We should. You know what? That should be our $2 tier this month.
Maybe.
We should just stream Balatro.
Well, you know what else? I was going to say that's a extremely cheap game that we were talking about possibly doing Patreon content for. That came out this year, and I know for a fact Sara liked Buckshot Roulette.
Buckshot Roulette's multiplayer patch came out. That's right.
I watched some people play that. That multiplayer mode is really whack.
Okay,
I love it.
I'm excited.
We might have to do that.
I mean, whack in a good way. It's extremely good.
That game owns, by the way, and it cost me $2. Like
that. That's just the thing. A good video game. You don't even need a scale for inflation. Never pay more than $20, or if you're feeling generous, maybe $25 for.
Never pay more than $20 for a video game. Monkey Island was right.
You don't even have to adjust that for inflation.
No,
that's just simply
honestly,
true now.
That's just how it is. 20 if you're feeling really generous, $30. But that's it, right? Never pay more than $30 for a video game. And that's small cases.
One of my favorite games of like 2020, 2021 that is still like $20, super worth it. Umurangi Generation. That game whips ass. You can get it and it bundled with its DLC for like $23, I think. And it's like, that's a super good video game.
Signalis is a $20 video game.
Yeah, Signalis, a $20 video game. I think that was made by 2 people over a course of like 8 years or something like that. Like, there's just so many good $20 video games out there.
Crow County, we played that.
Oh yeah. We need to get back to Crow Country. We never finished that.
It's Crow
Country. I know it's so
much worse.
You want to say county?
I'm gonna send them a letter. It had to be Crow County. Are you insane?
Yeah, they should have done Crow County.
Crow County is so much better. I'm sorry.
Came out of early access this year. Extremely cool, technically ambitious thing that I feel like people might like just as like a fun fucking around video game. Shadows of Doubt. The procedural generated voxel private eye simulator.
Yes, that finally came out of early access. That's a good look. Look at this huge list. Never spend more than $20 for a video game.
We could have had it all.
Easy.
And that's why Concord died, is because we're all too busy getting excited for Buckshot Roulette multiplayer instead.
Will Baldur's Gate 3 ever be $20? No. But here's the thing. I would argue there's too much shit in Baldur's Gate 3, and if they had simply angled it to be an extremely complex $20 RPG, they would have finished that game in like 2020.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's it for the news.
All right, get us out of here. We managed to make bad news into good news by talking about all the sick-ass indie games we've been playing, so that's good.
Don't forget, we've got months of streaming coming up next year, too, so we're going to have to cram some stuff in there.
Actually, one other game that like is extremely cheap and kicks ass and is a really simple concept. Why can't I remember its name right now? Home Safety Hotline! Play that game.
All
It's good.
right.
Oh yeah.
Home Safety Hotline is a great video game, and it's also extremely cheap. Anyways,
Anyway,
there's so many good video games out there,
There are.
people, and they're all super cheap.
I think we mentioned it because Ben alluded to it. I almost called you Dan for some reason. I don't want to put that energy on you. You don't deserve that.
No, that's too mean.
But starting next year, I think I am just going to commit to every Sunday streaming like 3 or 4 episodes of Legend of the Galactic Heroes every single Sunday until we're done. 'Cause that's a big anime that takes a long time to get through, and I want to bully people into going through it because I think it's really good. It's just that it's like 100 episodes long.
That's right.
So if that sounds cool to you, consider, if you're not in the Discord, getting in the Discord and coming by. We're still going through Crypt Master
we
Yes.
are.
Sundays too. I feel like next week will probably be the last one.
I think so.
I hope. I hope so. I mean, I'm having a good time. I feel like it will be the last one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm considering maybe, because I am liking the weekly streaming thing of possibly doing a day where I try out a Cruelty Squad.
Yeah, I'll be there for it.
Ooh, Yeah,
Oh,
that'd
we
be
also
fun.
still have to do the Baccano OVAs at some point.
Yes, we do. Listen, please join the Discord. There's always a lot of good stuff going on.
We're
Yeah, we
always
got-
hanging out and
We're hanging out.
and jawing and jamming and jerking around.
We got stuff
That's
for
right.
days. All right. Thank you to DJ Cutman for background music. You can follow us on all our social medias. Email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on BlueSky because we're moving away from Twitter.
That's right.
Don't bother following me on Twitter. Just go to BlueSky
I'm not gonna be
instead.
there. I'm never there anymore.
It's the same account names in BlueSky as it is on Twitter. So you know it's that.
Yeah, Twitter sucks ass. You can find me on BlueSky at mystery.systems, where I just reblog good art and make occasional bad posts, which is like it's basically Tumblr, but I like using the website more for reasons I can't articulate.
That's correct.
Join our Discord. Link is in the description. Patreon.com/thegorge. Look forward to us watching some Baki. I'm looking forward to Baki.
I'm really looking forward to Baki for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I will confirm tonight what our threshold is going to be.
Okay.
I'm excited because it feels like Baki is going to turn into those things like JoJo or Yakuza, where I just get a thrill out of telling someone what happens in the show rather than like getting them to watch it.
Right.
My prediction is that we're going to go through that. I really hope Oates can be there for it.
I think she will move heaven and earth to be there for it. Yes.
My thinking is that we will go through this. Sarah, you and Oates will both probably be like, I see why you never shut the fuck up about the show and contently leave it like that. And I think Ben will, after a week, like covertly go, I kind of want to watch more Baki.
So
and then watch Baki.
Look forward to the follow-up episode of The Gorge where it's like, what did you do this week, Ben? So I finished Baki.
Yeah.
That's the ogre you're walking into.
Yeah.
Oh my! No, Saturn. It would be that's a plate of bulletproof glass you're walking into. Because I've seen that clip.
Oh yes, you have.
Oh fuck. Oh god.
They say you're more powerful than a nuclear bomb. In that case, could you turn this into a diamond with your bare hands?
God.
Fuck Herman Holst.
In the first 4 episodes, do we get to see the Barack Obama impression?
No, that
Damn it.
You are not going to. Ben, you have to watch like all of Baki so far to get to the Barack Obama.
Oh man, okay.
Here's the thing, Ben, and we will get to fucking Herman Holst. Unfortunately, I don't want to fuck Herman Holst, but we do have to declare fuck upon Herman Holst. You will go through a Bush presidency, and then get to Obama, and then at some point, I think they get to Trump before the manga ends, which means at some point we're going to see Baki anime Trump.
Great.
Oh, great! That's gonna be the most hideous creature that's ever been on an anime screen.
Sure is, Bucko.
Great.
Great.
Awesome! I am so excited. All right, yeah. Fuck Herman Holst.
That's
Fuck
it.
Herman
That's
Holst.
all I got.
Good night,
It's
everyone.
A plague on his household.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.